Hello, everybody. Good to see everyone. There's Dallas Braden.
Yep.
Everyone's great. There's Justin Havens as well. We're all here.
Jayhay.
We're all here to rejoice. And what a great signing the Baltimore Orioles made today.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, we have a bunch lined up. Who do we have tonight?
We have got Jorge Castillo. We have got
your mic's not
Martin
on.
Gallegos. The fuck it's not. Yes, it is.
I mean, it's on, but it's not connected.
Oh, what? Yeah, it is. Oh no. You know what? You know what? You.
Just a minute.
There it is.
Talk to me.
There it is. Yeah, it's gonna be a therapy stream. Oh man!
Time for a BetterHelp ad read.
Yeah, I feel like we could probably.
If you need to cope with your team doing absolutely nothing during the winter meetings after they've sold your fans a large bill of goods.
I mean, I have nothing for Dallas's trolling this evening. I really don't.
Yeah, this sounds like a defeated man.
Oh God, just beat down.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I have to choose my words carefully. In terms of like conversations that have been had after the Pete Alonso signing, there are some people that are the Red Sox were very wary of Pete Alonso because of his age. Okay, he's the same fucking age as Alex Bregman, who you want to bring back. He's the same age as all the guys that they've targeted. What are we talking about? This report just came in.
It sounds like somebody has left the freezer unplugged in the scoop shop and shit is melting. Just sticky fingers all over the place.
I'm more concerned about Craig Breslow's health. I mean, I'm hearing reports that he's not even well enough to be talking to people at the winter meetings, and that might be causing the Red Sox to not be able to get some deals done.
I got to tweet this out. He's the same age as just about every other target. Red Sox.
I'm not gonna lie, Jay. Looking at Brez sitting on the stage, like just kind of like staring at Amsinger, or I think it was Amsinger. It was just like he gave me like Zuck vibes, like Zuckerberg.
Yeah.
Vibe.
Yeah, like he was drinking the blood of other people for sustenance, right? That sort of
like
vibe. Yeah.
Like I can't wait to get that adrenochrome IV as soon as I'm done here. So I can figure out how to put this baseball team together. I mean, I everybody knows how much I love Brez, former teammate of mine. The former SMIB, which is smartest man in baseball. True story. He had SMIB on his cleats.
That's crazy. I feel like that's information that the Red Sox fans don't want to hear right now.
Yeah.
Was that? Sorry, there was zero intent behind that. There was zero. I was just
the literal self-proclaimed smartest man in baseball.
Well, that and the like fucking 32 on the ACT and the 1600 on the SAT.
Wow,
and
32. Wow.
Yeah.
Not for everybody.
No. Shout out to Jayhay though. I mean, he nailed that. I was like, hey, if it's not the Mets or the Red Sox, who is this going to be? He's like, how about the fucking Orioles, huh?
Oreos.
I know you don't want to hear this. I'm not excited because I quote unquote got it right because we were just fucking bullshitting. But I'm excited because I think it's an exciting landing spot for Pete Alonso. I think it is though.
He's gonna rot there.
That there is a possibility that it plays out that way. Yeah.
He's got to take advantage of what I referred to affectionately as the Goldilocks wall. No, the wall.
Oh, okay.
The Goldilocks
wall.
At
least like the area. There's some areas there that are nice.
It was too deep. It was too short. Now they feel like they've got it just right. Is he going to be able to? Is that going to be a thing for him to have to worry about? I mean, I don't know how many wall scrapers Pedro's pumping out of the yard these days. They're pretty much homers when he hits them.
Jared's going to disagree with all of this. So that's fine. But the baseball is better when Baltimore is relevant and cooking. That when that ballpark is going, I do agree that there is a percentage possibility that we don't talk a lot about Pete Alonso over the next 5 years because he's on a team that routinely wins 76 games or whatever, because this doesn't work. But I think there is enough here worth trying to salvage, where I just go back to the point that I made on the last time, which is that you have a window before Gunnar Henderson is no longer with the team and or prohibitively expensive. And that goes for a number of other people as well. So why not take your shot at it? And I know a lot of people were blanching at the price tag, and I get that. It's more money than I think objectively people would probably want to pay Pete Alonso. But, I think Kylie McDaniel tweeted out the famous line, if you're rational about every free agent, you will finish second or third in every free agent bidding. You have to be a little irrational to win the free agent bidding. And I don't think that this is a terrible use of that adage.
Well, we heard it last night from Morosi, who I think said what we all understand, to a point where teams are trying to be competitive or trying to announce themselves on a new level. You're going to have to overpay at some point in time to show somebody or show potential future targets that you're serious about what you're doing. And I mean, that's just the nuts and bolts of it. Like if you're not in a position where your cachet is a big attractor, then how are you going to be reeling these guys in? How do you attract somebody else, right? Like you have to show somebody that you're willing to pay, much like people are wondering, okay, well, what's going on when we talked about the Detroit Tigers? Your effort to bring in free agents, a lot of that is based on what they think the future looks like with or without a Tarek Skubal, because that's a big part of how competitive you think you're going to be. So I think it goes hand in hand. If you're willing to spend and maybe overspend to make yourself relevant, then from there, you'd like to think that leads to greener pastures.
There's also just an interesting element to it. Like he's going to a swing team. He's going to a team that it's not like Diaz going to the Dodgers, where it's like, well, we know the fucking Dodgers are good, so we kind of know what the math is on that. We'll see you in the playoffs, sort of thing. Like Pete Alonso won't decide the Orioles season, but he could influence the direction that this all goes. And I think that alone is more interesting than him signing with a complete also ran, like when Bryant signed with the Rockies and it was just kind of like sad, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or the opposite of that, which is signing with a great team where we already know the outcome, kind of.
Yeah, the idea of them being a swing team, I think, is one thing. I would like to think that Pete Alonso is a needle mover, like him in that lineup and them performing and bouncing back, like we've talked about in the past. That makes a huge difference. Right? They get the right-handed power sandwiched in between the heart of that lineup right there, right? Whether it's Gunnar from the left side, Adley from the left side on any given day, you've got Pete right in the middle of those two. I mean, it starts to look really sexy, and that's why I think the Baltimore Orioles absolutely have to start making a push now in the pitching market. I mean, why stop here? Why stop here? I think it's understood that you feel like you have arguably one of the better lineups in baseball, not just your division, in baseball now. How do you supplement that? How do you make that count? Well, you got to go get guys who can get outs. And whether that's somebody at the back end of the bullpen like Suarez, whether that's somebody in the rotation, and there's a list of options that you could go for there, whether it's through the trade market or through this free agent cycle, like there are options there. But if and I'm going to ask these guys these questions, guys that we have coming on, if you're looking to separate yourself, like for the Phillies, for instance, right now with the Mets sort of floundering and trying to figure out how they're going to pick themselves up by the bootstraps after losing, arguably three of their best players, what better time for the Phillies to pounce on the market from an arms perspective and go, sorry, bud, you thought you guys were going to have a chance to climb back into this thing? We're taking everything else you would think that you could go get right now to keep yourselves or make yourselves competitive, whether that's back into the bullpen help, because we know you need that because your boy's out in Hollywood now. Well, we'll take the next best. Suarez, boom, come on home. Ranger.
Didn't Morosi say that they were gonna trade Jeff McNeil?
Well, I mean, that's a piece, yeah.
I would be very depressed right now if I were a Mets fan.
Oh,
I'm trying to not be selfish because I mean, the Red Sox were like, yeah, we're going to add 2 big bats, and they added 0 big bats, and the 2 big bats are gone, and Bregman's still out there, but he was just supposed to be like, all right, we'll bring back Bregman and then add a big bat. So like the Red Sox situation is kind of fucked right now. But if you're a Mets fan, you've got to know like this is bad. Like this is, but again, like it's the Mets. Like I feel bad for Mets fans. I don't feel bad for the Mets. Like the Mets didn't even make him an offer. How do you not even make him an offer?
The Mets thing, I'm with you. Like, I think obviously it sucks. I also feel so conflicted about how they should feel or how, like, because intuitively or intellectually what David Stearns is doing or how they're approaching this is he showed hesitance towards investing in a relief pitcher long term at big dollars, and he showed hesitance towards investing in a corner slugger, offense only, pretty low on base percentage by the standards of this type of player, corner bat who's entering his early 30s. Like that aligns with just about everything we've learned about baseball over the last 20, 30, 40 years of analyzing it. And yet it feels like an incredible missed opportunity for the Mets because you have this $800 million player who now feels closer to, like, it's not A-Rod in Texas, but it feels like we're getting way closer to that than I ever would have anticipated. And it's just like, what is the point of Juan Soto if you're just going to tap out on Pete Alonso and act? And I guess Edwin Diaz wanted to leave, whatever, but like, it just doesn't feel like they're building in the right direction following a massive signing.
And think about this, because for me, there's like outside of anyone who's available on the mound, I feel like there's one key fit for them right now that they got to go get for their needs. One key fit. That's Cody Bellinger. You need somebody to help you in the outfield, mainly center field, and you need to replace what you just lost at first base. And I'm not telling you that Cody Bellinger is a 1-for-1 over there with Pedro. That ain't happening. But the versatility, and you've got multiple voids that need to be filled, and there's one guy out there that can go and fill those for you. That's that dude. That is that dude. And if they're looking to not spend or, like you said, not make commitments to a certain guy, like how is he not the dude?
Do you think that the Mets simply just didn't want Pete Alonso back, or did they take for granted that he wanted to be there and they were like, we can kind of just take our time with this?
I feel like it could very well be a combination of the two, but I think it's probably 60-40, maybe even 70-30. Like, I think we're good on the polar bear experience. I think we have maximized what we think we can
make sense of that for me.
I can't, man. Other than they feel like he's aging. They feel like what they saw 2 years ago was enough for them to be put off for any sort of extended future commitment. And they look maybe at last year like, okay, sure. I'm not going to call it lightning in a bottle, but hey, that was a great bounce back. Don't know how many more of those he's got in him. And I don't know that he's going to run that out there for the next 3, 4, 5 years. And that's how they felt. And they were more than willing to walk away from that, not making that commitment with the question mark that they had.
I'm okay with their analysis that leads them to, we don't want Pete Alonso at 5 and 150 for the ages that we're talking about. Like, that makes sense to me. Where I run into the problem thinking this out is just like, it's not that you are required to overpay to go get or retain people once you have a player like Juan Soto. But I just go back to like, what is the point of this? What are we building towards? Was Juan Soto an ownership decision, and every other baseball decision is going to be driven by David Stearns in the front office? Because that's fine, I guess, but that doesn't feel like it's going to align in a way where you're capitalizing on the Juan Soto deal and him being in New York. Like, they feel further away from a championship than they did when we were talking about them post Juan Soto last year. And what is the point of that? What are we doing?
Well, that's why it's not fine, Jayhay. Like, to push back, that's why it's not fine, is because if that's how you're operating, where the owner, and understandably so, gets to step in and go, huh? What? No, we want that. I want that. Go get me that. How much does that cost? All right, I want that. And then he gets that. And then he's like, now you guys do whatever you need to do. because now that group is going, all right, well, fuck, homeboy just spent $800 million on Soto. We're going to have to be smart about how we build the rest of this thing up. And now those are two very conflicting approaches to building a baseball team. And that, for me, that doesn't align. That is as misaligned as my teeth were in elementary school. Like, that just cannot happen. It can't, you can't operate successfully that way. It just can't. Because it feels like you're stepping on your own toes, you know? But I mean, again, shout out to the Orioles because they were in on the Schwarber deal. They matched the offer. I mean, and what you come to find out is the Red Sox essentially just embarrassed themselves by making the offer. I mean, Jared, the only thing worse is that you and I would have been in the elevator to hear how that offer went. Fuck, we weren't even close. Whole year off. And
I will say this, Dallas. I had a tweet earlier. I said, legitimately fucking embarrassing. How can this organization continue to talk such a big game and routinely not back it up? You say you need a big bat. This dude right here was the perfect fit. And you come in with some fucking Miami Marlins ass offer. Embarrassing. Originally, that Miami Marlins, I had Oakland A's in there. And I was like, there's no need to bring Dallas into this. And I deleted it and I changed it to Miami Marlins because I was like, A's fans probably follow because they're BID people. I was like, there's no Marlins fans out there. So like, they're not going to get offended by this shrapnel in this tweet. Like, I don't need to bring the A's into this. So I did change it, and I did that for you. And I did it for the A's faithful as well.
Well, that's much appreciated. We're going to have a gentleman on here in a few minutes to kind of dive in to what the green and gold may be doing, may not be doing, because to be honest, we haven't heard much of anything at all. And we might be able to shine some light on that. But yeah, it's it's tough because I know how excited Red Sox fans were for the potential to not only bring Pete Alonso in, but you're marrying that with the excitement and the hope, because remember, boys, we're selling hope here. Up with hope and down with dope, as Dave Chappelle would say.
Sorry to the Marlins fan in the chat. But you understand. Like, it had to be someone to make the tweet work. It had to be a team that wouldn't make an honorable, honest effort to sign Pete Alonso. But it's interesting because it when something like this happens, it affects three different fan bases, right? Like, there's the Red Sox aspect, there's the Mets aspect, there's the Orioles aspect. And, you know, I always look for what's interesting. I think all three angles are very interesting. Jayhay, you hit on the Orioles part of it. I've, exhausted the Red Sox end of it, but I think I would kind of power rank it as the Mets angle being the most interesting here, because you kind of have to pick a path here. I know that the Brandon Nimmo trade shocked a lot of people, longest tenured Met, and he gets his bags packed. And to me, I want some sort of investigative reporting on what was the thought process with this free agency for Pete Alonso from the Mets perspective. What about it? How could a player that, you have basically three teams, Mets, Red Sox, Orioles, that were in on him, and the two other fan bases would be fucking stoked if they saw breaking news signed to the Orioles, signed to the Red Sox. Those fan bases would rejoice. And then the Mets are like, we didn't even make him an offer. He wanted to be here, and we were just like, that's awkward. We don't really want you to be here. Just the dynamic to me is kind of fascinating because, I mean, on the surface, I get it. Dude doesn't have range at first base. Yeah, he's on the wrong side of 30, but isn't his track record that he's just going to sock 35 to 40 home runs and drive in 100 runs and just be that dude? What expectation did you have other than that? No one expected him to be a Gold Glove first baseman. Can he make the easy plays? Yeah. Okay. Sure. Stick him in the middle of any batting order, and it's going to be better because of it.
I think David Stearns let us know how he felt last offseason. I think it's driven by the front office. I just don't think they value Pete Alonso at that price point. And I think they told us that. And then the reporting is that they were not even competitive in the negotiations or the back and forth this time. I'll lay out because we have a guest, but yeah. Welcome.
What's up, guys? How you doing?
Welcome to the therapy session.
Good to be on. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, this is I don't know where you would like to start, but we're we're heavy on Pete Alonso to start because of obviously the signing today. We've broken it down from 3 different fan bases perspectives. Obviously, the Mets, the Orioles, and the Red Sox. Which storyline do you think is the most interesting?
I mean, I guess the Pete Alonso thing was definitely what dominated the day. I mean, we were all kind of, I guess, in shock a little bit. I remember seeing, being at my computer and then seeing the tweet come through, and we were all like, "Damn, the Orioles!" Like, when we saw this coming, I think all of us, we're seeing all these other teams and rumors, and the Orioles are not the team that I thought he was going to go to. But I mean, it just kind of shows the AL East is a monster. So many good teams in that division that if you don't be making moves, you're going to kind of get left behind. So. But yeah, that was pretty much a shock. I think that was probably what carried the whole day for today, at least.
So, well, we know that you're Dallas's boy, and the A's. I mean, listen, who isn't talking about the A's right now? It's a burning topic. So I know Dallas wants to get right into some A's talk.
No, it's not that I want to get right into some A's talk. I think one of the storylines, Martine, that you are very well aware of, and something that I was made very well aware of, obviously, in the last couple of years, is the idea of ramping up, understanding that there's going to be a move coming, and wanting to bolster the roster in hopes of being able to move into a new ballpark with some shiny new furniture. And obviously, you got to make moves, you got to secure assets. And I think for the most part, some of the focus has been on securing some of the assets that you already have in-house, because there's a list of young talent that could be secured. And I know that there's already been efforts made and conversations have been stoked in an effort to do that. We're talking about a guy like Nick Kurtz, a guy like Jacob Wilson, a guy like Shea Langoliers, a guy like Tyler Soderstrom. I mean, there's a list of absolute studs that would be able to join the likes of a Lawrence Butler, who's already inked up. But having the seat that you do and having the conversations and the insight that you do with general manager David Forrest, the rest of the front office, what do you think is something that you or I or we, as folks who follow the Athletics, could potentially expect to see, whether it's here in the next couple days or at least ramping up towards spring training, in terms of either signings or acquisitions to try to help make this team better? Because there are some question marks around the field and even with the pitching staff.
Yeah, no question. And I think the pitching is kind of what they're focused on right now in terms of going out and adding to the roster. I think adding another starter is something that they really would like to do. As good as some of the guys they had, the young guys that came up in the second half looked. You look at this rotation as currently constructed, and you got Luis Severino and Jeffrey Springs as kind of your 2 established guys, and the rest of those guys, I mean, they don't have that much experience. And if you're going to go into a regular season counting on 3 guys who haven't played a full season in the big leagues, it's going to be tough. Not to say that they can't turn into quality big leaguers, but I think to add one more like proven starter, doesn't have to be like a number 1 guy. I mean, I'm sure they would love to have a number 1 guy, but that's few and far between. But adding like a mid-rotation type, there's a lot of those guys that seemingly are available, whether it's trade or free agency. If they could add someone like that, a guy who's been around the block before, and you're going to get like 30 starts, 170 innings under the belt, I think they'll feel a lot better just going into the season with that 3rd starter in there. Relief pitching as well. I mean, they don't have a set closer right now. Mason Miller was traded last year, and they got by in the second half. A lot of guys stepped up and pitched well for them. The bullpen was actually a strength for them when they won. They won like 34-24 to end the year. But I think looking at kind of the way the bullpen is constructed right now, you want to bring in at the very least a guy with some experience who's kind of pitched in high leverage before, has shown that he can get it done before, to kind of maybe be a leader for those guys. So I think those are the 2 options, the 2 areas we're looking to address. But I think the contract extension stuff that you talked about, that's just as important. I think that's a big focus right now. Obviously, with the Vegas move coming in a couple of years, I think they want to make that effort to kind of lock up these guys and trust them as kind of the faces of your franchise before they move to Vegas. So once they move into there, you can see a group. Those guys that you mentioned, Nick Kurtz, Jacob Wilson, these are the guys who are going to be the faces of the Las Vegas A's. These are the guys who they're counting on to be kind of that group that gets them back to the playoffs. So, yeah, I think that's going to be big. I don't know if they sign, all 4 of those guys this offseason, but I know they're having a lot of talks right now. I know they're talking to all their agents. I think this winter meeting was more kind of laying the groundwork for those talks and the talks for, possibly adding a guy, whether it's trade or free agency. I remember last year, I think they had Jeffrey Springs and Jacob Lopez in a trade shortly after the winter meetings. Those 2 guys are going to be in the rotation next year. So I think you're going to start to see maybe in the next week or so, those maybe rumors start to heat up a little bit more with maybe a little bit more concrete names. I know right now it's pretty quiet on the A's side. I'm sure A's fans are kind of, not too excited about that right now. But I think as the weeks come on, I think they're definitely making an effort to try to improve this team for next year.
All right, I'm going to throw a name out there at you right now, Martin.
Wait, really quickly, Dallas. So Playback is going out of business at the end of the week. I would say that we could have like the world record holder Martin Gallegos, the fastest to ever get on the stream without any technical issues. That's the record. Like that was.
Well,
you made everyone else look bad. I gave everyone else a pass. I was like, it's really difficult, but you just popped on and it was without any conflict, which is extremely impressive.
Not only was he locked in, but he was locked in and audible. You could hear him.
Yeah,
Martin, the guy to your left, guy who is a veteran of the. Oh yeah, Jay's catching a straight right now. He just gets his ass pummeled daily by the mute button, and you had no problem handling that. So again, tip of the cap. But I'm going to throw a name out there, and this is probably wishful thinking. And remember, before you break my heart, Martin, I do know where you sleep during the season. Is Zach Gallen just entirely too much for me to ask for? Is a guy like Zach Gallen just entirely out of earshot, a guy that we can't even have a conversation about? Or does he fit the bill that we're talking about? Hey, if you can spend that kind of money, this is a wonderful addition to plug in to stabilize the rotation, because a guy like Luis Morales, who has flashed, in my opinion, electricity as he continues to mature, you're going to need people to flank him and to help him grow. I feel like Zach Gallen would be a wonderful addition in the green and gold.
I don't think it's completely out of the picture. I think a large part of this, though, is like them knowing that they're going to pitch in Sacramento the next 2 years is tough. I mean, it's hard to convince guys to come play here just because they know pitching there. I mean, it's well documented. I'm not, revealing anything that's not known at this point. We saw last year, whether it was, guys coming in, pitching here for the first time, they had a lot to say about it. So that's a tough selling point at this point. If you can sell them on maybe, hey, look, we want you to be our top guy. If you could like stick it out for these next 2 years, we have a great young team that you can possibly help get to the next level. And then in 2 years, we're going to move into this fancy new ballpark in Vegas. Maybe that's a selling point. But I think it's not a matter of, they can't, I think they have the money for it. I think, David Forrest has told us, multiple times this offseason that, payroll is going to move up year after year as they approach the Vegas thing. So, they're going to spend money this year. Zach Gallen is obviously top tier. I mean, that's a guy that a lot of guys, teams are going to be interested in. We see him in a lot of trade rumors as we speak. But I think adding a guy like that isn't out of the picture. I wouldn't say it's likely, but I think it's something that they're definitely discussing. I think they've definitely discussed that over the past couple of days, if that's actually something they could do. But I think they're definitely looking all avenues, whether it's trade or free agency, to try to get another, like I said, a really like quality starter that could kind of just maybe, give you that rotation that you could go into the season with just feeling really, really comfortable, as opposed to, a few inexperienced guys with those guys that they have currently.
Martin, I have a question that could potentially be very stupid, but I'm going to ask it anyway. When they do build the new ballpark in Vegas, how, if you are even aware, how do the A's anticipate the ballpark factors to be? Like with the climate and just, I don't know, the dimensions, like, is it supposed to be, because we all know like the Coliseum, there's just like a ton of foul territory, pitchers love pitching there. Do you anticipate this being more of like a hitter's park, a pitcher's park, or somewhere in between?
That's a good question, because I know obviously it's going to be completely enclosed, so I don't know how that kind of impacts everything. Obviously the ballpark in Las Vegas for the AAA team, it's outdoors and the ball absolutely flies. Yeah. It's crazy. It's like Coors Field, plus 10 or whatever. I haven't seen anything as far as like what the dimensions are going to be like, and they might have shown that, but I don't remember off the top of my head what the dimensions look like. So yeah, I don't know. I can't tell at this point what that's going to be like. If ball's going to fly, it's going to be. I don't think it'll be Coliseum like, but I don't think it'll be Sutter Health Park like either. So I'm sure they're trying to make it probably as even as possible. Try not to get too extreme one or the other, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure what that's going to be like at this point.
Have you heard anything about that, Dallas?
Oh, well, I can tell you as of right now, it's an all dirt infield, which would be very different. But I mean, that's going to change. I have an idea of what the dimensions are going to look like, but again, we're not going to know until we see the baseball start to fly. And I know that's a lame answer, but that's about as good as I can give you. Is you just never know until you start to, because I mean, you can laugh at it, but there's a lot of folks who were talking about how the Rangers ballpark was playing and whether or not the concrete was a factor, right? The concrete drying out. If it's still wet, you don't have much of a wind. You don't have much of a wind tunnel created. Once that thing starts to dry out, does the ball start to fly a little more? Do wind tunnels start to create and reveal themselves? So there's going to be a lot of things that you have to kind of wait and see for. Again, I know that's kind of a lame duck answer, but it is what it is. Something else I wanted to ask you about, Martin, are some of the other players in the AL West. And when I say players, I do mean teams. We know the Rangers not happy with how things ended for them. Are you hearing anything in terms of some of those other clubs looking to bolster themselves, understanding that the Astros have just said goodbye and will probably not, in all likelihood, re-sign Framber Valdez? That's a no-go. But have you heard anything on those fronts about some of the other AL West contenders looking to try to up themselves in terms of competitiveness?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I think the Mariners for sure are trying to add another bat. I mean, I don't know what Suarez, if he's going to go back there or not, but if he doesn't come back, I mean, that's a big piece of their lineup that they got to kind of fill. I know the Angels are in an interesting spot with Rendon. You know, that situation. I don't know what's going to happen there, but they're always like trying to add. But you know, obviously they finished last place last year. The Astros are getting older. You know, the way that they finished last year leaves a lot of question marks going to next year. Is this kind of their time over thing? Is it not? The Rangers having a new manager, obviously. The division landscape is kind of interesting right now. I mean, and I think how it ties with the A's is, you know, they've got kind of a stable situation, obviously, right now in terms of their roster. They've got a young core forming that seemingly, I mean, we all think they're only going to get better, right? Like Nick Kurtz having a full year, Jacob Wilson having a full year, all these guys who kind of got their feet wet over the last year or so, getting another, you know, year under the belt. I think that, honestly, the time is now for them to kind of, you know, make a push here. And we saw last year, you know, the record kind of, they had that 1-20 stretch that was just awful, that kind of sunk their season in May. But the way they finished last year, I mean, they feel a lot of positive momentum going to this year. And I think they feel like if we can make like one or two, you know, right moves on the pitching side, they're going to have like a top 10 offense. I mean, they had one of the best offenses in baseball last year, and you feel like it's only going to get better next year. If they can just figure out a way to kind of get a little more out of their pitching than they did last year, I think they feel like they're in a really good shape going into next year. You know, to at least maybe challenge for a playoff spot, maybe the division, if not, maybe a wild card spot, but definitely be in the conversation until the very end, which would be a big step, you know, and kind of, you know, continuing what they've created in the second half of last year.
I was going to ask about after the Vegas move, is there any anticipation? Because once they went to Sacramento, obviously there was a little bit more spending, nothing crazy, but there's some very special players that are on the A's right now. I hate when we talk about Skeens because the conversation always goes back to like, well, when are they going to trade him? Like, you have a very special player in Nick Kurtz. Is that something where are we going to be having the Paul Skeens discussion of like, when did they move him? Or do you foresee a scenario where the A's could actually be like, got a new ballpark, we have a star attraction, let's pay this guy and keep him here for a long time?
Honestly, I think that's their goal. I mean, I think they're looking at that right now, and you know, kind of the discussions that they've had. I think Nick Kurtz is at the top of the list. Like, you know, yes, Jacob Wilson, Tyler Soderstrom, Shea Langers, all these guys are important, but Nick Kurtz, I mean, they know this is the guy. Like, this is the guy who's going to be on all our billboards. You know, moving into Las Vegas when the ballpark opens, he's probably going to be on all the, you know, signs outside, welcoming everybody to the ballpark. He's a guy who they want to be like their guy for a long time, and I think. Before they get to Vegas, they're going to try really hard to make sure that he's locked up. So there's no questions like the Paul Skeens stuff and with the other guys as well, because you know, they've got a lot of guys here now and they've got a good farm system with other guys, potentially Leo DeVries. I mean, he's a super prospect. He could be a potential, I mean, people think he could be a star, and, you know, by the time they're in Vegas, he'll be on this team as well. So, you know, I think the arrow's pointing up for them, and I feel like they're, you know, Mark Kotze, we talked to Mark Kotze about this today, actually, and he said something interesting. You know, obviously, Dallas, you saw this group in 17, 18, 19, the Chapman, Olsen, Simeon team. We saw how that ended. Kotze referenced that and said, you know, things are changing here. Like, we don't expect that to be the case again. I know it's been a thing for, I mean, a couple decades now. You know, we see these cycles come through of players, they go elsewhere. You know, we feel like now that we have the momentum with the new stadium coming, it's going to be different. We're going to sign these guys long term, and we're going to actually, you know, cultivate a team. I look at it similar to like the Braves. You know, when the Braves had all those young players that they locked up for a long time, you got that group in there now. I think that's kind of the vision that they have at this point with this team. And yes, Nick Kurtz, I think, is priority number one for them right now. I think in terms of, you know, can we make a deal now? Can we make sure that this is not an issue going forward? and just have you locked up for the next, whatever, 10 years or whatever it is.
I love to hear it. You heard it here first from MLB.com's own Martin Gallegos, A's AL West champs, Nick Kurtz, future Hall of Famer. Martin, enjoy Mexico, my friend, and thank you for your time. I know you got a lot of stuff to get to. We appreciate you carving out some time for us, my man, and I will see you in February.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you,
brother.
Oh, look at that. Breaking news. The A's just signed Mark Leiter Jr. That's huge.
Oh, can we get him back?
Yeah, we got to break that down. That's big
There's
time.
your rotation piece, huh? They're gonna try to
He's going
swap
in
him.
your
They're gonna
rotation?
stick him in the pin.
That'd be
Yeah.
that'd be a
He's going
tough.
to the pin.
Yeah.
I sure hope it's the pen.
He's going.
Yeah.
We'll take that. We'll take that.
Well, yeah, that is that's gonna cover our A's quota for quite some time. That's good.
Zach Gallen, huh?
It's
That'd be
hopeful.
That'd be interesting.
What do you think he's gonna get?
I think it's probably like a 4-year deal.
4? You think he gets 4? I think
that
maybe
crazy?
he fields multi-year offers, but if you're him, are you enticed by a 1-year deal to
No.
no?
Nope.
I don't
Nope.
know, man. That's
No.
a risky contract.
Gallen?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, as much as we talk about him being on the higher end of what the options are, where would you honestly slate him between, between a guy like Michael King, who's available via trade, between a guy like Ranger Suarez, Framber Valdez, who's at the very tip top of that list?
King's a free agent.
Yeah.
Who was I? Oh, did I say via trade?
Yeah.
What? Oh, because I was looking at, because he had an option, right? It was a mutual option.
Yeah.
Yeah. Joey Gallo's drawing interest as a pitcher. That'd be exciting.
That'd be awesome.
I'd love that.
Let's do that.
Let's do
Yeah,
that. Just see what it looks like.
Yeah, full disclosure, I actually reached out to Joey Gallo about joining the Slab Lab.
That'd be very interesting. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Like I want to see that.
Where's he
I
at in
wanna
the
see
off
that.
season?
I'm not sure. I mean, but you see what happens
It's gonna
when
be the
you
off
take
season for a while, I think. So you could,
you take a Hall of Fame pitcher's daughter to prom, and you just become I could pitch too. Fuck it.
I don't know that story.
He took Greg Maddox's daughter to prom.
Oh, well, Ante, who I work with at Nesson, took Barry Bonds' daughter to prom.
How about that?
Yeah, pretty cool. Couple Hall of Fame prom dates.
Is Ante looking to make a splash?
I feel like he, I don't know what his bread and butter is, but he was very fun to work with at Nesson. And that was like, I think I was like telling the story about how like I commented on Barry's Instagram posts for literal years. And then he was like, I can one up you. And then he pulled out his Instagram and showed his prom picture. I was like, motherfucker, that's awesome.
Damn it.
Mm-hmm. Is Vinny P still an option? That was like a trade deadline thing. I haven't heard anything about that in the offseason. That was kind of like a pick up the phone, kick the tires, see what the deal is. And yeah. I feel awful for Fleming. Is he doing okay, or is he just pissed? Why? What happened? I know
I saw
he
somebody say that he was going inactive on
Let me
or
see.
that
he tweeted, I believe the next 72 hours are going to make a lot of Red Sox fans smile. Way too much chatter and info from people that I respect. And then obviously when Alonso signed with the Orioles, people were crushing him, which is completely unfair because he said nothing about Alonso. That's not the only move the Red Sox can make. He said Twitter is a pretty reasonable place. Good effing God. I'm a liar. I have no credibility. Did I say they would sign Alonso? I did not. Did I say that I thought that they would do some things to make the team better? Yes, I did. And I stand by that. And then an hour ago, he said, I'm all set with this platform. I will miss hearing from and talking to so many Red Sox fans and friends, but it's gotten so toxic and negative. It's not really worth engaging. I thank you all for being my friends on here and look forward to talking to you on the air. And you know what? I feel like a lot of people are starting to feel that way. I certainly fucking felt that way on Friday. We talked about it on here. Yeah, Twitter is just a very shitty place these days. I mean, it's not his livelihood to be on there. It is ours. So I just put up with it and I just tolerate it as much as I can. But yeah, like even like today, like I don't give a fuck today, but like, you know, I was all in on like the Marte rumors yesterday, and then Alonso signs with the Orioles, and I get a bunch of Red Sox fans being like, I'm fucking sick of your shit, getting our hopes up and lying to us with your fake sources. I'm like, I didn't say a literal fucking word about Pete Alonso. Like I was talking about Marte and how like I thought that there was some legitimacy to the rumors. We talked to Morosi, and it's like, yeah, like, you know, it's not like anywhere close, but like, yeah, like he's multiple times has named the Red Sox as like the team to complete a Marte trade. And I was hearing that too yesterday, but I don't know what that has to do with fucking Pete Alonso signing with the Orioles.
And let me say this. Let me say this on behalf of Will. Like, there's guys that I see each and every day at the ballpark who I know enjoy what they do, and that's a big difference between loving what they do and loving who they do it for, and truly embrace the personality of the place where they do business. And I think Will is one of the rare birds, no pun intended, Jared, sorry, that is so just I mean, you can tell he fucking cares. You can tell he loves it.
Oh,
you can
he lives for it.
You can, yeah. I mean, and like that dude's on your side. If you're a fan, that dude's on your side.
He advocates for he like there's so many broadcasters in all of sports, but it's a rarity to have a broadcaster that lives, breathes, dies for the team that he calls for. And Will Fleming is that dude. Yeah. Like Dallas is that dude, but Will Fleming is that dude for the Red Sox. Like if the Red Sox were to trade for Ketel Marte right now, he would be doing backflips. Right? He fucking loves it. That's why the Scoop Shop's so fucking cool, is because you've got dudes that like, even like Lou Merlone grew up in Framingham, loves the Sox, played for the Sox, now covers the Sox, but he loves the Sox. So it's just the Section 10 guys and then Lou and Will, and we're just, I mean, we know people, so it's cool that we have like different connections and information, and then we share it with each other. But it's not a job in there. It's like, we are fans, but we are privileged fans that like we get to hear shit. So yeah, like Will taking any shit for being like, yeah, like I think the Red Sox are going to be better. It's like, okay.
I hope fans can gather that perspective. Truly, like, give yourself 10 minutes to be pissed. But honestly, as somebody who understands, I'm going to end up taking arrows from people who are angry at their father, they're angry at their babysitter from their childhood, and they're now taking that out on their favorite team's front office and announcers and shit. Like, it comes with the territory. But to get to a place where you're like shutting these guys out, like, do you know how lucky you are to have somebody like Will, to have somebody like Lou that care as deeply as they do, and have to have Lou Merlone, you said it, Jared, grew up in the area, ends up playing for the team, and is now the broadcaster for the team, and loves them as much as anybody that is sitting in any section in that ballpark on any given night. Like, come on, man. Like, to be able to just tap into those dudes on a nightly basis, whether at the yard or out at a watering hole just outside the ballpark or on social media, like that's not something that every team has.
No.
There's a lot of teams that don't have that. There's a massive disconnect between what I will call and refer to as the storytellers of your summer and the players and the fan base. There's a massive disconnect in a large majority of baseball franchises going these days. And the Red Sox just do not feel like they're one of them. So, and I'll probably tweet out like, yo, we got to cut Slick Willie some slack, man. Cause that is just not, that ain't it.
No, you cannot surpass Will Fleming's passion for the Boston Red Sox. You can only hope to match it. Like, he's the top of the top in terms of how much he gives a shit. So to like bully him off of Twitter is fucking bullshit, but
yeah, wild.
Yeah,
but
he'll be back. He'll be back. He can't stay away for too long.
No, and you know what? And that is probably a testament just how much he loves the fans who do care, and how much he does love the Red Sox. It's street legal to just be like, you know what? I'm done with it. To hell with all of you. And then maybe he has dinner and he comes back and he's like, look, I didn't mean it. All right. And I know, or I want to believe you didn't mean it either. All right. Can we just move past what is now a shitty time for us as a group? We all feel like it's not great right now.
Well,
So,
it's a different kind of cut when the call comes from inside the house. Like when it's Red Sox fans that are being assholes, like that's when you're like, all right, fuck you. Like for me, like getting dragged on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, it was all Yankee fans. I'm like, I expect that from those people. But
or like people that you work with every day. Like when they start throwing arrows and they start trolling you, like that can be tough too. Speaking of, Jared, it looks like the only hopeful signing that could do you guys any good whatsoever at this point, and Alex Bregman is being shopped around in Seattle. Martin Gallegos mentioned the fact that Eugenio Suarez may or may not have a reunion on deck with the Seamen. Wouldn't it be crazy if Alex Bregman took his services to the Pacific Northwest? Is that a viable option, or is that just is that a mystery team that now has a logo on it?
Yeah, I mean, I want to say I've learned my lesson when I completely disregarded the Orioles and the Alonso sweepstakes, but I know Breggy, and he cares about ballpark factor. He's not going to go somewhere where his swing goes to die.
No, could you imagine leaving Boston, as we have already outlined, the ballpark that he is quite literally building his swing, retooling and just fine-tuning his swing for, leaving that place to go to a place where you're hitting underwater? Like, thank you.
No, he wants to be a Hall of Famer. He wants to go somewhere that he can have a home, and he knows he can rake for 81 games every single season. And I don't think that Seattle's that place, unless their offer is crazy. And it's like, all right, like Bogarts. It's like, when he signed with the fucking Padres, we were like, yeah, like, okay, San Diego, like, good luck with that. And then they just doubled the best offer that he had. And it's like, oh, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Like, good for you. It's a horrible contract, but good for you, man.
If they're telling Bregman that he can be 45 years old and DH, like that's,
yeah, like
it'd be tough to pass up.
If by the way, that Bogarts contract, if I were him, I would have been like, can you make it less? Like, I don't want to play that long. I don't want to be here.
I don't think the knees are going to hold up.
No, that's going to be called buyout at the end of that.
Yeah.
He'll
be getting 99% of that contract to go home.
Yeah. Speaking of, or do you think the Angels are being held up right now trying to figure out the Rendon buyout situation?
I think that they've figured it out. They know they're haggling, but I feel like they are obviously prepared to just pay the full price because they have to do it anyway. If he were to just show up and play 3 games like he was going to do anyway, they're obviously prepared to write the check for the full amount. So I think they're trying to see if we can get to a point where we don't have to give you all of it, but like there's not a situation like they have no leverage. They have no leverage. Like Rendon can be like, all right, see you in spring training.
Yeah. That's why I said what I said about him feeling, slighted with how everything was handled. He's gonna be like, look, dude, I have not forgotten. I have not forgotten how bad my leg hurt. I have not forgotten how little information I had on that. I have not forgotten how that was handled. So write the check, or I will see you in spring training, or you can tell me to stay home. Either way, direct deposit's going to hit.
Yeah. Someone's asking about, can you explain the Kyle Teal rumors? Well, you see, the Red Sox like Kyle Teal. They even went so far as to drafting him. So they like him, and I think that they would love to have him back, but I don't think the White Sox are looking to trade him. The Red Sox would love to add some help behind the dish. Actually, did you see today that the Phillies have made an offer to JT Realmuto?
All right.
No, I did not see that.
I didn't see that though.
Yeah. Do we have details on what that offer might entail, or do we just know that it was an offer
out?
I think it was money. I think it was money.
Yeah, they definitely had American currency going out.
The Kyle Teal thing, he is older than he was when the White Sox acquired him.
True.
So you got to wonder, you don't like how fast that clock is moving.
He is aging forward.
He is, and that's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's time maybe to cashier him for some more prospects.
Yeah.
And kick that can a little further down the road.
Yeah, would maybe they would be interested in like a Connor Wong, because Connor Wong, he was a player that he was traded for Mookie Betts, and I don't know if you know this, but Mookie Betts, very good player. So if you're a player that's in a deal for a player like that. Good Lord.
I think
So-
if you package, I think Wong could be a part of it. I think you probably got to put somebody like Jeter Downs in there.
I think he's playing in like Bangladesh.
And and I think you probably got to sign and trade Verdugo. And then I think you've really got a stew going.
That is probably one of my favorite Jayhay lines of all time. Is when we were looking to find a home for Alex Verdugo, and I was like, "What about the Guardians?" And he goes, "Are you trying to be an asshole?"
Yeah, I mean, we called that. He's out of baseball, man. That was
Yeah.
a hurtful thing to try and put on the team.
I agree. I mean, never play it again. I mean, never even hear his name. What's he doing?
He doesn't do anything well. That's his big problem in baseball. He might have others.
He throws well.
All right.
Oh,
That's a tough signature skill in football or in baseball at least.
He's the bizarro world Barry Bonds.
Yeah.
If you think about it.
What are we what do we do we have any thoughts, any differing perspective now that we're just another day further down the road here and Pete Alonso has found his home? So when we're looking at the power market, has the market narrowed now for a guy like Bo Bichette? Has the market narrowed now for a guy like Kyle Tucker? Do we feel like we're going to start to see some teams reveal themselves sooner, more and more, or is this still and the reason I'm asking this is because I think to Martin Gallegos' point, how the Alonso conversation kind of stole the day, and it was because it felt like it was on the surface out of nowhere, but when you understand that the Orioles were in on Schwarber to the extent they were, it tells you that they've been very serious about the conversations they're having. Are there teams that we feel like are now going to be that much more serious? And I almost want to say outside of the Mets, because we know that they've got to do something.
The Mets have to do something. Why? I mean, the Astros have money. Why are the Astros linked to nobody? For the success that they've had for the last decade, and Dallas, you mentioned it earlier, like not even a consideration about Framber Valdez going back there. And they obviously had Kyle Tucker and traded him. And to my knowledge, I think they didn't even, if it was either no offer or for sure not a serious offer in extending Kyle Tucker while he was there. Why are the Astros never mentioned and they're not linked to anybody that's like a major player this offseason?
Well, I mean, look, Mr. Pena's holding it down in the 6 hole. So like Bo Bichette, are you willing to play second base? Or well, I mean, they got a guy there too. And whether or not they want to continue to park Altuve in and out of left field, that is what it is. But I got to feel like that's probably one of their issues. I feel like maybe the Astros consider themselves still very much competitive, even with an aging roster, because of the division.
I also like, just since we touched on the Astros, they have taken on / chosen to sign 2 contracts at fairly significant dollars that look borderline problematic at this point in Christian Walker last offseason or 2 off seasons ago, who has been pretty much a straight line decline since signing the deal and is owed $20 million a pop. And the Carlos Correa acquisition looks like borderline mystifying in hindsight, that they absorbed that much money owed to that player for a guy who had been his combination of available and productive I think I'm probably guilty of having, if somebody were to pull up my commentary at the time, probably guilty of having been caught up in the nostalgia factor of the Carlos Correa acquisition and how cool that was. And, the gang's back together and he's going to be better than he was and he'll be playing. And instead it's just a guy you owe like fucking $60 million to, who might not be good. And that's between the 2 of them. If they're both more liabilities than assets, that's like what, $50 million tied up in those 2 players per season. So they have money, but you combine that with what they are, what they're paying Altuve, what they're paying Jordan, Hader, McCullers, like Christian Javier, like some of these guys each of these guys is making at least $17 million a year in 26. So you'd like to think they have flexibility, but I'm not sure how much that's true after the decision to bring on Correa.
And I mean, when you think about, and from a pitching perspective, like, I don't know, I'm trying to think off the top of my head, like, what's the biggest deal that the Astros have inked a starting pitcher to?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's
like, it can't be
It's
$100 million
on short money or
Yeah.
short years.
Yeah, but I mean, was that $100 million? No.
Honestly, it might have been for what? Wasn't the extension for like 100? But it was
I
like
don't
3
think
years.
so, man. I don't think so. I mean, and when I say 100, like, if you're going to tell me 95, I'm not going to bark back. But I
Yeah.
mean, it's not 100. But
What was the
in neighborhood,
Verlander
I
deal,
get it.
Jay?
yeah, I'm pulling it up. Hold on.
I think it was in the neighborhood, but I don't even like count that because it was like 100 million, but it was like 2 years or like 3 years. Something crazy. It was like 2 years, 80 million or whatever the fuck.
Yeah. So the idea of, and because wouldn't Frommer be the dude?
Yes.
If he's the guy that's headlining the market right now.
Yes. Well, what does
Wouldn't
that tell you? That they don't want him back and he's a fucking great pitcher? Like,
But you know
why are
what?
the Astros not linked to Ranger Suarez?
Maybe Frommer becomes a choir boy when he lands somewhere else, anywhere else. Maybe he gets
it
into
do
a
be
room.
happening like that sometimes.
It absolutely does. And maybe because he conceivably is the big swinging dick in the building there, is like, hey, you know what? Like, nobody's going to tell me what the fuck's up. No one's going to be giving me the business. I'm going to be the one doling out the business. But when he goes somewhere else, you are entering the fray. You want to ingratiate yourself. The best way to do that is by shutting up and getting a job done. And then from there, you try to continue to, hey, maybe you start to get a little more comfortable. You start to lay your own foundation as a, quote unquote leader, if that's what you want to call him.
Like, we got Jorge Castillo in the chat, which means he has fallen into the trap of not knowing how to get on the stream. And my heart goes out to you. I believe in you. I think that you can do it. But just know that while you struggle to get on, you're not alone.
No,
you're not alone. You're not the only one who has had this difficulty.
Yeah. You're not going to be able to live up to what Martin Gallegos did.
No,
but that's okay. Where there's always room for second best.
Yeah. No one's topping that.
Yeah. But I'm curious to hear what he has to say about the direction that the Mets are going to go for Mets fans, because there are plenty of options out there. It's crazy to think that the New York Mets have, and Jay, you and I were mentioning this with the whole, contrasting perspectives from the ownership move and the baseball department, right? Like, what are you going to be doing? How are you going to be going about this? They have to do something at this point. Otherwise, you run the risk of
there he is. Let's go.
What's up?
I always had faith in you.
What's up, guys? Man, that wasn't even on me. I was told to just type something because they couldn't find me.
Oh, they had to add you. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So we're good now. What's
All
up?
right. Jorge Castillo, ESPN, I wouldn't say a busy day, but it was definitely an eventful day with a lot of drama. We opened the show, obviously, talking Pete Alonso. Can you give me any insight as to why the Mets just didn't give a shit at all that he was available? Like, why is the franchise home run leader just sitting out there, and the Mets, who are they're not in a position where it's like, we have a litany, we have an embarrassment of riches in terms of talent, so like we don't need him. Like, this is a guy that they need. Why was there no offer?
I mean, I think we saw last year how they valued Pete Alonso. They just didn't really value Pete Alonso. So a year later, I mean, he did his thing this year. It was a great year for him. 36 home runs, led the National League in doubles, 871 OPS. He's been a guy since he showed up in 2019. And David Stearns and his crew, his people, they don't value Pete Alonso, the player, like the market did this time around. Last year, Pete Alonso did not have this market. The Blue Jays were kind of involved, and Pete Alonso wanted to go back to the Mets on that deal. And he had that year, and he found that multi-year deal that he was looking for. And David Stearns, they just weren't comfortable going there. And that's just the way it is. And it's not. This dude was like a real fan favorite. He was the guy in New York. And it's going to be tough to replace that production and that presence in the lineup behind Juan Soto. So, I mean, I'm curious as to there's not like a bunch of right-handed hitter like power bats out there like this guy. So, yeah, but the David Stearns and his people, they put values on these guys, whatever they think these guys are worth, and they decided that Pete Alonso was not worth that.
I want to give you I want to give you two directions to go here, because there's an opportunity for them to make a splash on the pitching side of things. There's an opportunity for them to go out and reel in a big bat offensively and help them out. What do you foresee them doing? Because our man Jayhay and I were just discussing sort of the contrasting approaches between the owner and then the baseball operations department. And what do you see coming to fruition, whether it's help on the mound or help in the lineup? And what do you think that the Mets should be doing?
I think they're going to go both routes. I think they are definitely going to get a starting pitcher. That to me is something that's going to happen. Obviously, like the starting pitching market, the free agent market isn't like, we saw Cisco off the board, 210. That's a lot of money. You guys were talking about Framber just now, Ranger Suarez. There are guys out, Michael King. There are guys out there that would definitely help this team, because Nolan McLean's the guy, man. Like that he's the number one. But I think what they could go out and get is another number one type, a 1A, and then McClain could be a 1B. It's a Skubal. Is it Peralta? There are guys out there. Do they bring a Mackenzie Gore? Man, he's not up to that level, but can they get a guy who can be a, game one, game two starter if you reach the postseason? I think that's definitely going to happen. I think the Mets are going to be aggressive on that front. What happened last year, they couldn't get a guy to go 5 innings besides David Peterson for like 2 months. Like they killed that bullpen. They need length from their starters. Kodai Senga and the Mets, they have a weird relationship. It's strange. The guy, I don't know what's going on there exactly. David Stearns this week said that they've had better communication, but that's a guy that's been floated out there in trades. David Peterson has been floated out there. I think they want to upgrade the rotation. When it comes to position player, I mean, Cody Bellinger fits like really well. I mean, they literally just traded Brandon Nimmo, their left fielder. They need an upgrade in center field. Juan Soto is not really regressed defensively in right field. And then you just lost your first baseman. Cody Bellinger plays those four positions. I mean, he can handle New York. He's handled LA. He's played in big markets. He was really good last year. I really like watching Cody Bellinger play baseball, man. He does everything right. Fundamentally, he has pop. He fits there, in my opinion. So I think they're going to do both. I think the Mets, it's obviously everyone in New York and Queens is going crazy right now. Oh my God, we just lost these guys back-to-back days. 2 weeks ago, we lost Nimmo. But there's a lot of time, there's a lot of time left. Steve Cohen has a lot of money. They can do a lot of things. And I think they're going to do quite a bit. And what's happened here between yesterday and today, and really that Brandon Nimmo trade, David Stearns looked at this roster and was like, yeah, this isn't it. This core, mm-mm. Like we had that in Burn in 2024. I gave these guys another year. Yeah, it's time for me to go in here and do what I want to do now. And that's what he's doing.
Were you surprised that Alonso signed as quickly as he did? Because, I mean, the money might have been right from Baltimore, but wouldn't he have been better served to at least wait it out a little bit longer to see if other teams would have joined the fray? It came off like, all right, like I have 3 teams that are interested. This team offered me the most. Done. I'll take it.
I think once Schwarber signed, I mean, he knew his market.
150?
Yeah, 150. Once Schwarber signed, it was Alonso's turn, right? So it was Red Sox, Orioles, Cubs seemed to be the teams that were most into him. And, once you get your offer, it's like, all right, let's go. And 5 for 155, and you add the 30 he just made, 6 years, 185 since hitting free agency last year. No one thought Pete Alonso was going to get that. Like, that's a good job by not just Scott Boras, but Pete Alonso for betting on himself and doing what he did. So I think 5 for 155 is a great deal for Pete Alonso. And if you hold out on the Orioles, maybe the Orioles go out and get somebody else, a Kyle Tucker or whoever else out there, or they trade for somebody. So I think Scott Boras saw the pieces. He saw the board. He has a lot of pieces for this board, and he was like, "All right, Pete Alonso, you're going here to Baltimore for a contract, no deferrals, no opt outs, straight 155 million guaranteed." And that's a haul for Pete Alonso.
No doubt.
We understand, and as closely as you cover the Mets, you're obviously privy to the goings on in that division. I've brought up the Phillies as a team that I think now has an opportunity with the Mets, call it what it is, floundering right now and searching. They got to make moves. Is this an opportunity for the Phillies to help bolster themselves and maybe even create a little separation with the market looking the way it does, especially in that division? Because I've mentioned the Atlanta Braves as well, looking for a healthy bounce back from a lot of their parts in their lineup. They have an opportunity to potentially bolster their pitching staff. They've got a couple young guys in that staff that I think could also really benefit from some balanced veteran presence that they could go out and get through this market. Do you hear anything in terms of what those two teams might be interested in terms of acquiring talent here, whether it be on that pitching side of things or the position player side?
I'm not hearing a lot when it's, Phillies 150 for Kyle Schwarber is a lot of money, for a DH. And as good as Kyle Schwarber is, I mean, the guy's a stud. He's 56 home runs and all that. Like, I don't see the Phillies being they're tied up. They got Bryce Harper long-term, Trey Turner, and the Schwarber contract. Wheeler's making a lot of money. Nola's making a lot of money. They got a lot of big commitments already. So I don't see a lot of room there. They need a catcher. Real Muto's out there. Maybe you bring him back. And so besides that, I heard they might trade Matt Strom. That's a possibility. So, we'll see what happens. But and then the Braves, they had a year from hell last year. I mean,
not good.
It can't get any worse. Like how
Not good.
it couldn't get any worse, and they brought Iglesias back, and they have a lot of talent on that roster. So I don't see them being necessarily too aggressive either. I think those two rosters they're old. Like, the Braves are getting older. They're not old, but the Phillies are definitely an older roster. So I don't see a ton there in terms of movement there. And I think they don't really necessarily need to make a ton of moves. The Phillies are going to be good. And the Braves, unless shit goes bad again for whatever reason for the second year in a row, because even when they made the playoffs 2 years ago, things were kind of went sideways. So you expect that. They got some, they got a fresh voice. I mean, Walt Weiss is now the manager. Maybe changing it up helps. So I expect those two teams, they don't need to make moves. I think they're going to be like real contenders next year.
What's Framber's market looking like? And I mean, I think people are wondering if his, I guess, like, you can't even call it off the field because he did it on the field. His questionable character, is that costing him suitors? Is it costing him dollars? What's the deal with his market?
Yeah, so I'm not sure if you guys know about the video thing that the 20-minute video
that he's circulating and showing teams his character. I'm a good guy. I promise you.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Oh yeah.
He has an "I'm a nice guy" PowerPoint presentation.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is what children do before Christmas. Like, I behaved very well this year. Santa, just in case you're watching, I need to know. All right, I need to know more about this video, and I need to know what his market is.
It's basically just like it's a character, like just to tell teams, hey, this guy's good character, etc. And I heard the team that I heard was like I don't know if concern is the right word, but curious was the Mets. So I think the Mets are interested to some degree. I don't know if they're going to be too in on Framber. The Orioles have a connection with the front office with Framber, Mike Elias, all those guys. They're Houston.
Jorge. Come on. Framber in that clubhouse. We're talking about that clubhouse.
I know you're talking about. I get it. I got what you're saying. But yeah, there are not a lot of teams out there like who are willing to pay Framber that kind of money. Last year the Orioles offered Burns for 180. Like they went for it in a way. So I think they're in a market for a guy like that, like a Framber Valdez. So yeah, man. But I know what you're saying.
The chat's killing it right now. So I'm nice and I want money, please.
Exactly. That's basically
put a video
what it is.
Together to tell people you're a good guy. ...
It's the wrong year to do that. To do what he did.
Yeah. Where do you ultimately see him landing?
Ooh, that's a good question. It's hard for me. I'm really curious. The trade market is where things are really gonna pop off, in my opinion. So it's hard to see like Peralta.
Orlando Wi-Fi.
I think those two guys, if they get moved, and after that, maybe they Ranger and Framber and those guys find places. So I don't know. I think Houston and not Houston, Baltimore and New York, the Mets are kind of obvious potential places for Framber. Because you got to think about it this way too, man. There aren't that many teams with like a lot of money, or that will spend a lot of money. Who's out there? The Dodgers already got starting pitching. The Dodgers could all in trade for Skubal. I'm hearing Glass now could potentially get moved.
Available.
He's available. So it's not like the Dodgers aren't going to bring in like a Framber. The Cubs aren't going to bring. I don't think the Cubs are going to bring in a Framber. There's just not a lot of teams that out there are going to spend like real big money on starting pitcher right now. So, um, the two teams I mentioned, New York and Baltimore. Baltimore really, that's the one I think. If I had to pick one.
Now we're not gonna beat the hell out of the Mets clubhouse here right now, but it's understood that
yeah.
they did just lose their stopper, and we understand that he took money, he went to Hollywood, and he said, "I'm good," and they were like, "Hey, buddy, we might have a little more to offer you," and he's like, "No, that's fine, that's fine. The Jets already fired up. I'm gone. I'm out of here."
Yeah.
Does that impact maybe bringing a guy like Suarez in who can come and make an impact in that same role? Or are they still just too far away to start there? Do they have to turn their eye to the rotation before they start to turn their eye towards the back end of the bullpen? And do you think that that's going to be an issue for them moving forward?
No, I think they go to get Suarez if they wanted to right now. They just offered, they made a good offer to Diaz from what I was told, over 60 million. So it's not like they weren't willing to allocate the money to a player like to that role. Whether Suarez comes in to pitch the eighth or the ninth, right? You got Devin Williams, obviously, who just gave $51 million to. So I think they can do that at the same time. Like the Mets they can do it. They can do it all. Steve Cohen can do whatever he wants. He can go get this guy. This guy can do it all at the same time. It doesn't. I don't think that necessarily. I don't think the timing of it really matters. I mean, if Robert Suarez is their guy, and he thinks they think he's at a reasonable price, good price for him, they're gonna go get him. So I don't think necessarily you got to do one or the other. I think the trade market, yeah, maybe if you want to go trade for a guy, you got to wait it out a little bit. But I think if you want to get Robert Suarez, go get him.
You hearing anything on Ketel Marte, that trade market, how it's shaping up?
I do. Yeah, I feel like every time I refresh my Twitter, someone's like tweeting a new team that he might get traded to. I feel like I think he gets moved. I think there's too much talk here about Ketel Marte, and he fits in a lot of places, man. Low key, one of the best players in baseball. Like he doesn't get a lot of love. He's out in
Mhm.
Yeah.
Arizona, so kind of a quiet. He's not like personality wise like out there and stuff. So he could shift the landscape, like the World Series contender landscape a little bit if he shows up in a place that's just maybe a bat away. And I'm seeing all the rumors like you guys are. I'm not too plugged into the Ketel Marte market. I don't have too many people out there, but yeah, I think he's gonna move for sure.
Yeah, that off the field concerns with him, I feel like are largely overblown. Like the fact that he like a fan said something in the stands that he got upset about, and then his house got robbed for like $1 million worth of shit, and he was weird after that. And it's like, oh, clubhouse issues. It's like, no, dude, like he's just going through it right now. I feel like that's just like crazy to pin that on the guy.
Yeah, man. It's also like when your team's not doing well, you guys are losing, all that shit surfaces, right? Like when you
Mhm.
guys are winning, we never hear like same shit with the Mets this year. Like you hear stuff when they're losing. When they're winning, all that stuff is pushed to the side. No, it doesn't surface. We don't hear about it out here. And that when Marte happened, and if they trade him, they're trading a real guy. Like
Mhm.
that guy is a guy. Like I would want him on my team. He's good.
Yes.
Especially if you have a good clubhouse, right? If you think you have some concerns about his personality, whatever. If you have a strong clubhouse, strong leaders, guys, veterans and all that stuff, and he can just slide in and do his thing and go to work and go home and do it, like hit 300 with 30 home runs or whatever, then you're gonna get a guy who's gonna make a real difference.
You mentioned like
go ahead.
You mentioned like how there's not a lot of teams that have a ton of money that they're willing to spend. And for a large portion of this season, we were talking about the Kyle Tucker market. Is that number going to start with a 4? So if it is, that really limits the market that he would have, because not only do you need teams that have money, you need teams that are willing to spend said money. Where do you think Kyle Tucker ultimately lands? Because I think it would be a fun fit if he ended up with the Toronto Blue Jays. But I mean, like the Dodgers were kind of saying, what do we see? Was there like a report today that they were like, yeah, we're only willing to go like 3 or 4 years, and he's projected to get 6, 7 plus. So what is his market? It's very confusing.
I think his market is Toronto.
That's
But
it.
like, if we're talking like the money I don't even think it starts with a 4 anymore. I think before the season started, all of us kind of assumed, oh, it'll start with a 4. He's an elite talent. when you look around, like I don't think the Dodgers are going to wait till his market collapses. That's what the Dodgers do for the most part. They wait for your market to collapse and be like, hey, you want to come hang out with us and win a World Series? You know,
Like,
and like, oh,
yeah.
sure. Oh, why not? You know,
I'm nice.
But
Pay
like,
me money.
yeah, exactly. It's nice out
Yeah.
here. Weather's good. Dodger Stadium. But yeah, there aren't the Orioles were a potential team. They just gave Pete Alonso 150. They just traded for Taylor Ward. They're not going to be in that market anymore. Like
No.
the Yankees, I don't see the Yankees. The Yankees want Bellinger, and he might be too expensive. Never mind Kyle Tucker. Like I don't see that either. So maybe if Toronto goes another, if they choose Bo Bichette over Kyle Tucker, maybe Kyle Tucker does go for one of those 3 or 4 year deals or something like one of those pillow contracts and a 1 year with 2 year with an opt out and comes back, next year or whatever. I'm not sure. His market is fascinating because there doesn't really seem to be a market. And what's I think is lost in all this, guys, is like, the Chicago Cubs they traded real guys for this guy last year for 1 year, and they're not even like making an offer. It's like you guys are the Chicago Cubs. Why are you guys? You guys just traded real people for him. Cam Smith's a real guy. Like, and you don't even want to make an offer? You're a big market team. Like, why are you making? To me, that's crazy.
That's always interesting to me because it does feel like, and I think it's fair to say that, what do they know that somebody else doesn't? Well, they know a lot because they've had the player in house, and everybody has their proprietary metrics to sort of project what they feel like this player is going to turn into. What's your breaking news?
It's nothing huge, but Mike
Yaz to Atlanta.
Yeah, Braves. 2 years, 23.
That makes sense. They're not going to make huge moves. That's the kind of moves they're probably going to make.
Yeah. One thing I did want to ask you before we get you out of here is just zooming out a little bit. And I know you mentioned it. Stevie Cohen can go and get a Scooble if he wanted. He can go and make these moves if he wanted. From a Dodgers perspective, how do you feel about the Dodgers, understanding that we do have the potential lockout looming? How do you feel about the Dodgers sort of flexing their muscle here maybe in the last year before they have these big conversations that could very well restrict everybody's spending to an extent? And how do you feel about their effort to go out and acquire as much possible top tier talent as they can? Is that something that's ruining the game of baseball for you?
I think it's awesome. I think it's great for the game of baseball. I think anything that we watch, anything entertainment, we watch a movie, we watch a show, we watch sports, we want a villain. I want someone that's good. We saw the numbers we saw the TV numbers all up postseason, World Series. People were watching. Either you love the Dodgers, you hate the Dodgers. You were watching them, and I think the Dodgers, what they did yesterday with Edwin Diaz, we're like, all right, yeah, we're not really like we don't need Edwin Diaz. We got guys. We can go get Robert Suarez, whatever. But like, oh, he's 3 years. Oh yeah, sure, we can give him $69 million because he's going to be our ninth inning guy, and we can do it. And if there is a cap coming, let's win World Series now while we can. Outspend everybody by a lot, and they're making money, and they're really good at making money, and that's a skill. And these guys are all businessmen, and these guys just happen to be better businessmen than a lot of the other guys around them. That's just the facts. Shohei Ohtani was in Anaheim for 6 years, and they didn't figure out how to do this. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on now. Like, give some credit to the Dodgers for being good at business and figuring it out and leveraging what they have. And they have a well-oiled machine right now, man. Like Andrew Freeman and his guys, they know what they're doing. And getting Edwin Diaz, yeah, like I know fans are frustrated. I get it. But it's not, to me, it's not ruining baseball. If anything, it's like the Dodgers are must-watch television if you're a Dodger fan or you're not a Dodger fan. And that's what you should want. You want teams that you love or you hate, like the Yankees back in the day. Jared, I'm from Worcester, so I know you're a Boston guy.
I'm going there Saturday.
There you go. So, growing up, it was Yankees talks. Like, you hate the Yankees or you love the Yankees. It was like everybody was watching them, though.
It's facts.
Just the way it is.
It's facts. Jorge Castillo, ESPN. Thank you so much for making the time. We got to do this more often. This was great.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is your debut. Absolutely. We got to get you on the podcast.
Let's do it. It's cold in here, man. Sorry, I'm like the only person left in here. Everybody else went home. It's cold.
All right, you get back.
I appreciate you guys having me on, man.
Anytime.
No doubt, brother. Thanks for taking the time.
Thank you.
Yeah, later, guys.
Dallas, you also got to run. Yes.
Yeah, I do. I do got to run. Chat, appreciate you hanging out with us once again. This has been an absolute blast this week. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for all the questions. We appreciate the we appreciate the solid vibes all week long, and we will catch you on the pod mañana. I am gone. The boys here are going to hold it down. You got Chris Jimenez showing up here in just a mere matter of moments. So until we meet again,
I would have said Jimenez.
You would have mispronounced that.
Yeah, we worked through that at just the right time.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right, boys. We'll see y'all. Peace, chat.
And then there were two.
Yes. Yaz to the Braves. I'm glad he found a home. That's it. That's important to me, that good guys find good homes. And we were just talking about the Braves, what they were going to do. They go out there and sign a Mike Yastrzemski.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about that move, Justin Havens?
I'm not going to fake a level of enthusiasm I don't have, but I think he is a useful piece of the puzzle for a team that is, I think, maybe diminished from what they were, but definitely still trying to win and win big in 2026. So, their outfield, as of right now, Michael Harris, Acuna, and Profar, and I think Yastrzemski's bat against right-handed pitching will serve this team pretty well in a role where he'll get plenty of at-bats, and the number of at-bats that Mike Yastrzemski typically wants, needs, deserves, in the 400 to 500 range. It's a nice ad. He's a nice player.
I like that. Should we take some questions from the chat before Chris Jimenez gets here?
Let's do it.
Let's see. What do we got? What do we have in the chat? People were asking if we were even looking at it. I mix it up with the chat.
Yeah. I mean, it's a little different right now than it is with the games, where we can just kind of sit here and watch a baseball game and answer questions.
Do I want to tattoo your forehead, Adam? I don't want to do that. I feel like the forehead tattoo is where we probably draw the line. I didn't watch the It series yet. I completely forgot about that. How likely is a Ketel Marte trade with the Red Sox? You know what? I'm not gonna say anything about that because I don't want to be held to anything. Do I know that they're talking about it? Yeah. Do I think that they can get it done? Yeah. That's about it. That's where it ends. The real John Anthony, can you bring me a protein latte on Saturday? Absolutely. I forgot. I still have one in the fridge.
Oh boy, what a find for you.
Yeah, I still have one in the fridge. I'll rip that during the 10 later. Can I become the Sox GM? There's not a job on this earth that I would want less than that job. What does an A offseason look like for you from here? Bregman, Marte, a trade for another starter.
Sorry, I just want to answer one specific question. Somebody, JTRLO3, asked me if I saw the movie Major League in theaters. I just want to pump the brakes a little bit on how old I actually am. I was 4 at the time that movie came out, so
that's possible.
I was not cheering. He said his mom was talking about how people were cheering in the theater like they were at the game. I was fucking 4 years old at the time. Whether I was cheering or not, I'm not going to be able to. Come on. Little aggressive.
God forbid people hold you to what you say. I'm not saying you can't hold me to what I say. That's why I'm not saying something that would be incriminating.
The cardigans make me seem. That's fine. They make me seem older than 40. Give me a break. Come on.
Yeah, that's crazy. But it's not crazy to say that you could have gone to the movies at 4.
I physically could have been taken to the movies at 4. Yeah. But that I was like a real entity who would have been like enjoying a movie and reacting
remembered
to
it. Yeah. Yeah, like what? Yeah, no, I wasn't remembering a movie in '93.
No.
Do I like Akamoto? Yeah, I mean, I only like him because Lou Merlone is like all in, so that's the vote of confidence that I need. He really wants him, so we'll see if that works out.
Throwback game stream is not done. We should say that. Somebody's asking about that. We should talk about that.
What? Oh yeah. We're gonna do it on a different platform.
Yeah.
There's no way I can fucking read that tweet from Stats.
Yeah.
What does that have to do with?
It looks Royals related because it looks like Piccolo is being quoted. Yeah, no, we're still going to do the throwback game streams. We're just going to do it on a different platform that solves for the throwback game streams. It does not solve for the in-season stuff, but we now have time to work on that.
Yeah, I'm very excited about that.
Oh, yeah. Well, it certainly diminishes my anxiety in the interim. We can still do fun stuff during the off season.
Yeah, because like, what else are we going to do? You know?
Right. No, the throwback game stream is a good idea, and doing it once a week is a great thing. And now that we won't have now I'm back in the flow of streaming every night. So now when the winter meetings go away, it's going to be like, well, this sucks again.
Yeah. Like, what am I going to do? Read a book?
Yeah. Well, I do. Yeah, I do that.
too.
But yeah, that's what I'm going to do when we stop this. But
there he is.
There we go.
You made it.
Technology, man. I'm sorry, boys. I was trying to figure that out.
No. I'm telling you right now, it's an absolute disaster to get on here. It is. That's why it's going out of business, I believe, tomorrow or Friday.
Unfortunately. Even better. I'm glad I can bring it out in style then.
Yes. So, I mean, right off rip, the Pete Alonso news breaks. What's the initial reaction?
I mean, good for the Orioles, honestly. You know, they've needed to make a move like this for quite some time and just have been so freaking reluctant to pull the trigger on it. And it sucks, man, because you've got one of the best young cores in baseball and no pitching to go with it and no veteran leadership. They fired their manager. They hired arguably, I think, the best candidate available in Craig Albertaz this year. You watch, he's going to be manager of the year. I called it as soon as they hired him. I'm like, this is the perfect fit for Albie. But I'm happy for him, but I'm also sad for a few other teams, the Red Sox being one of them.
Thank you.
I thought he was the perfect fit in Boston. Truthfully, I really did. And I know I only said that to make up for what I said for the Orioles for you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And also, I will say this, definitely the most jacked guest that we probably have ever had. Like, you're right there with me pretty much.
Dude, I didn't realize that I'm at our baseball facility right now, and I didn't realize that I could be, like in a tank top. It is like 65 degrees out here right now. So I'm all about it, dude. I like it.
Let it rip. I just took the second skin off. I just got both arms tattooed. So I'm like, I'm not trying to show off. I'm just like, it fucking hurts.
I bet, dude.
Yeah, it does.
Bet. They look good though.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
For
like
sure.
Jayhay didn't say a fucking word about the tattoos. Not one. Awful friend.
That's messed up, man.
Yeah, it is. As far as like big moves that have yet to be made, what do you think has the biggest impact? Do you think it's going to be like, what's going to cause like the biggest ripple effect? Will it be Kyle Tucker signing somewhere, or do you think it's going to be a trade, like a Ketel Marte potentially?
Yeah. I mean, obviously that is definitely on the table. I would say, if I had to guess, I would say that Marte is probably more likely to be traded than Skubal. I don't think Skubal would obviously be massive news.
That would be crazy, dude.
And I talked about this morning on MLB Network Radio. Could you imagine if the Red Sox, who have plenty enough to trade for Tarek Skubal, now you've got the two best left-handers in baseball on the same team.
We're not
then
doing
you sign
shit.
Bregman. I know, but it's fun to dream about, isn't it? Like,
shit, it is. It would be great. I love
honestly,
it.
Though, I think Kyle Tucker signing is probably the next like big domino. I really like Ranger Suarez too. Personally, I think he's better than Framber Valdez, and I'm not a big fan of what Framber did to the catcher, his young catcher. Like, that's complete BS. And I'm obviously, being a former catcher is kind of a tough that's a tough pill to swallow. But
Sure.
yeah, I mean, as soon as Tucker signs, like that's going to open it up. I mean, Bregman's obviously a big one too. Like there's a lot still up in the air. I know we've had some big dogs kind of go down, but Tucker being a really big one and possibly a Ketel Marte trade like that, he probably has the most value of any player because of his contract. He's under team control for the next 4 years at like $90 million. And dude, he's a top 15 WAR player in baseball.
Sure. You mentioned Bregman.
Yeah.
And obviously, I would love for him to come back to the
So
Boston
would
Red
I.
Sox. It would be amazing. However, I've learned my lesson with Pete Alonso because I was like, it's going to come down to the Mets and it's going to come down to the Red Sox. It's cute that the Orioles think that they're involved, and then bam, like we got the breaking news today. And
Yeah,
like
right.
I've learned my lesson.
Right.
If it's not the Red Sox, where do you see Bregman going? Because I don't take the Mariners seriously in this.
Yeah,
but
me either.
Dave Dombrowski is like, I hear the fucking Jaws theme in my head when I just like he's looming. I know that he's looming, and he would love to just be like, yeah, thanks, but no thanks to Alec Boehm. Be like, Alex Bregman's our new third baseman. That's a team that I'm worried about.
Dude, I'll tell you what, man. Freaking that would be honestly, that would be some craziness, truthfully. I haven't heard his name connected with the Phillies. I totally see where you're going with that. And obviously, I wouldn't throw anything past anybody at this point, especially Dave Dombrowski, because he's kind of a madman. And did anybody see, Schwarber getting 150 million for 5 years? Like, I mean, I'm sure people did, but I think that's a little craziness in its own right. He's going to be 37, 38, probably still hitting nukes. But honestly, I think the second biggest or the second best spot besides Boston is probably the Cubs. And I hate saying that, but I think they were hot on his tail last year. He chose Boston, which, in my opinion, was the best landing spot for him. His swing plays perfectly for that ballpark. Like it's Houston 2.0
And he
in
knows
regards
that.
to what he does at left field. But more importantly, you know this better than anybody, dude. What he did for that team last year in a lot of those young players, like you have to have an adult in the room to teach you how to do things on and off the field. There is not a better guy who's got the pedigree that Breggy has than Alex Bregman to do that for this young group. They love him there. I don't know why they don't just give him whatever the hell he wants, truthfully, because the dude is still a fantastic player, offensively and defensively. Got to keep him healthy, but that's the same thing for anybody that you would sign. So I would say the next best option is probably Chicago, even though they have Shaw. But I think they're okay with moving Shaw to the outfield somewhere.
Everyone's just playing hard to get right now.
I
Because even
know,
the Cubs
that's
have been
so
like,
true.
we love Shaw. He's our guy. And it's like, yeah, but like, what if
We
Bregman
like him
just
till we
falls
don't.
into your lap? Yeah. Like, what if that just like happens? And that's what I'm afraid of. That's what I'm afraid of. J2 Real Muto as a catcher, it's a guy that's 700 OPS last year, but like the impact that he can make on a club can't be overstated.
Right.
So do you foresee a return to Philly, or do you, if you could, I guess like fantasy book him to go somewhere where you think he's the perfect fit, take like money and whatever other situation, be like, if I could place him on this team, I think it's the best fit for him. What's that team?
Honestly, I think it's Philly. And I know that's kind of a lame answer, but dude, he knows what he gets out of that pitching staff. You're right. First and foremost, like you can't really quantify what he does behind the plate. Like, okay, we can quantify some things with, the handwork and the glove work and the framing and receiving and throwing and catching, all that stuff. But it's the nonverbal stuff that he's able to do, right? That nonverbal communication is helping those guys out in big moments and big situations. Just knowing what finger to put down. Like that's 3/4 of the battle, right? And those guys have the trust of JT Realmuto, and he's got the trust of them too, right? So I truly feel like that's probably the best fit for him. Plus, he doesn't have to be the guy there. And I think that's an important part, especially at that position. Like, can he hit? Yes, we know he can. Did he have a great offensive year last year? No, but he doesn't necessarily have to either. They were still the best team in the NL East, and he didn't come anywhere close to what his career OPS is. Like, he doesn't have to be that guy anymore. And as bad as it is to say, if he was to go to somewhere like Boston, which is another good fit for him, don't get me wrong, I think more would be relied upon in regards to the offensive side of things, as well as what he does behind the plate. I think he's going to bring that no matter where he goes. But I think getting in Philly in that ballpark for him too, it's a great fit.
I tend to agree. I don't know. Like Dallas mentioned the Pirates because he wants
No,
to see.
I mean, I get it. I totally understand that because I would love to see him with that young pitching staff.
Right. That
And
was his
that's where he's
point.
coming from.
Yeah.
Exactly. But dude, that going to Pittsburgh's in freaking purgatory, dude. Nobody wants to go to Pittsburgh. Like they would have given if they would have given Schwarber $500 million. Well, maybe he would have gone for 500. But like I give them credit for offering. Like, all right, that's cute. But now you've got to really do something and get over the edge because until you knock that first one down, the pitching staff's to die for. But they couldn't hit water if they fell out of a boat, and you're not going to just throw. They don't have boatloads of money to throw around at guys like that to get them to come there.
But he's also in a position in his career now where he's not like the 5'110" guy anymore.
True.
So it's like,
that's a good call. That is
what
a
if
good
Pittsburgh's just like, hey, we'll give you a little bit more. And I think if I'm him, sure. Like, but if the Phillies just completely want to move on, like we want to go in a different direction, we want to go younger, then I'm enticed by the opportunity to work with like a Bubba Chandler, Paul Skeens, Jared Jones, and like, yeah, like that's like we're gonna suck, but we might unlock something with these guys.
No, you're right. I mean, it's just I think like mentally though, think about going there. Like, okay, I have the greatest pitching staff maybe in baseball right now, not named the Dodgers.
Yeah.
And potentially somebody else if they make a couple of trades, the Red Sox. But anyways, dude, if he were to go there, like for a fact you're going to win. Maybe he's a 10-win player in the sense that he can help that pitching staff to 10 wins. But the issue that they have, it's not their starting pitching, it's their bullpen and figuring that part of it out. And you've got Don Kelly, who I think's a stud and is doing a great job there. He did a good job after Derek Shelton was fired and let go and all that stuff and keeping the momentum going the right way. Like it's good to have another kind of coach on the field, so to speak, in regards to Real Muto. But I just think there's better opportunities for him. Truthfully, other places. I think Pittsburgh's really low on the list, even though I would love to see it happen.
I'd love it. Yeah. Speaking, you said low on the list. Let's go high on the list. Who's the team right now that's at the top of your like what the fuck are you doing like list? Like
Well,
you've either
it was
you've
the
either
Orioles. It was
you've
the Orioles,
either
but it's
not
now the
done
Mets.
something or like you've done something that's questionable. Like
Well, dude, they've done both. The New York Mets have done both. You've let your two clubhouse leaders, well, three of them actually, because you traded Nemo, then you let Diaz walk, then you just let Pete Alonso walk. Like to me, there's something going on in that clubhouse that is unexplained, at least from the public side of things, because there's no way those guys should walk. Steve Cohen, dude, he's got a blank check. He can give them whatever he wants to give them. But the fact that they came out today, David Stearns, and said the Devin Williams signing hindered them from bringing back the best freaking closer in baseball, like, what? You have the most money of anybody on planet Earth, man. Like, what the hell are you thinking right now?
Yeah.
I don't understand how that even computes, truthfully. So, to me, there's something else going on there that the clubhouse has got to be an issue because I think if they would have offered Pete 5 for 155, he still would have said, screw it, I'm out. I'm going somewhere else.
Or less.
Or less, yeah.
That's what I said about the Red Sox. I was like, you can't tell me that if the Red Sox were in the neighborhood of what the Orioles offered, that he wouldn't have taken the Red Sox off.
I have to agree with you that he was. But then didn't a report come out tonight that said that they were shorter term and a lot less money?
Yeah, I said they probably gave him the Ryan Dempster, the 3 for 39. the classic Dempster deal. It was like the Red Sox in like one winter, they went 3 for 39 on like Mike Napoli, Ryan Dempster, and there was one other person. They just like went like 3 for 39. Yeah, all right, cool. Come on down. You can come play for the Red Sox.
Let's go.
Yeah.
If they want to sign me for 3 for 39, I'll take it right now. I'll come out of retirement.
Listen, that's. I mean, I'm not poo pooing $39 million, but I mean, Jesus,
sure.
like at least let's make it a round number. Like, what's the 39 all about?
Screw it. I'll go 38. 38 is my number anyway. I'll take a pay cut.
Why not? What's the team that you think needs to step up their, I guess, like you're not hearing their name enough? For me, it's the Astros. Sure. I'm curious. Like you don't have to go into anything about the Astros, but like that's my example is like this is a team that has money. They have a tradition of winning over the last decade. They're not linked to anybody. Like who's your team? And you can pick the Astros if you'd like.
No, I think the Astros is good, but honestly, I think the Detroit Tigers too is a team that we've heard their name in the rumor mill for the wrong reasons, right? Trading Skubal, which I don't know why you would ever want to trade that guy. He's worth $400 million. Just give him the money. Sell a couple of pizzas. We're all good, right? Little Caesars has got plenty of money. We don't have to worry about that part of it. I just think the guy's posted. He's had some injury concerns in the past in college and in high school. That's long gone. He's been an absolute unit for you. He's the back-to-back reigning, defending Cy Young Award winner. Like, why would you not give this guy $400 million? Make every run you can possibly make at Alex Bregman, even though I think that's the worst fit for him. I mean, I get the connection with AJ Hinch, and I'm sure they would love to have him. I just don't think that ballpark plays to his swing like a couple other ones do. And then try to go big on a Kyle Tucker. Move Riley Green to left, which he's already there, and put Kyle Tucker in right. And you've got an absolute beast of a staff. You've got an incredible bullpen. Don't sleep on the Finnegan signing. That actually was a really, really good sign.
Yeah.
They turned that guy into something really special. And you watch, he's going to be really, really good for the next 2 years. But a couple of pitch mix issues, like they got him to throw a split more, made his fastball play up. Like that played well. But I would love to see the Tigers. I don't wish because I work for the Guardians, but I want to see the Tigers do well because they have a quality young core. Riley Green's a stud. Tarek Skubel's a stud. Kerry Carpenter's a freaking stud. Like, why are they not adding to this team? And all we've been hearing about is talking about subtraction with them.
Yeah, I agree. Before we let you go, who's the next player to sign?
Ooh.
And where are they signing?
Damn, you're putting me on the spot. All right,
Yeah.
I'm going to say, you know what? I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'm going to say the momentum of Pete Alonso signing in Baltimore means they are going to sign Ranger Suarez because that's what I've been calling for them to sign.
Yeah.
Since he became a free agent. That's their ace. That's the guy to lead their staff. Now you've come out of an offseason with Helsley, Pete Alonso, Ranger Suarez, and you traded for Ward. And, oh, yeah, by the way, you got Gunnar and Jackson Holiday and a few other studs over there, too. Westberg, like, that team is instantly one of, if not the favorites in the American League.
I like it. I like it a lot. Chris Jimenez, MLB Network Radio. This was fucking fun.
Dude, let's do this again, but maybe not on this stream thing because it's going
hard.
broke, right?
We'll do the podcast and then we'll get a lift in.
Hey, I'm all for a lift. Any day, dude. Let's go.
So's Jayhay.
When I come to Boston,
Jayhay's our
let's get a
resident
lift
meathead.
in.
Yeah, let's do it. I got a gym in my basement.
Perfect. I'm gonna text you when we're in town.
Done deal.
All right, I love it.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, boys. Have a good one.
It's good to see you.
See ya.
All right. I like that pick. I like Ranger Suarez to Baltimore. That would be pretty exciting.
Yeah. I saw that they were also among the list of teams that were linked to a possible Freddie Peralta trade. You sign Pete Alonso and you go out and get one or possibly two of those guys, Framber being the other one to throw in there. And I mean, I don't know where that puts them in the AL East, but that just makes for an absolutely fascinating division. If the Orioles, the objectively worst roster going into the offseason, is the most aggressive team in terms of upgrading in the season or in the offseason.
Dr. Swag brings up a great point. I forgot about all the tip money from the playoff streams.
Yeah, we got to get that out.
We got to get that out before playback just takes it to the grave.
Yeah, they're gonna pay their final bills with that shit.
Yeah, we gotta withdraw that tip money. It's just sitting there, as far as I know.
I'm pretty sure Jake's already made plans with that money, so we got.
He might have already spent it. I don't know.
Yeah, we can't have.
It is what it is.
Dunk intern with one more for the road. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. So when we were talking to Chris, people were like, "Why is Jared blinking so much?" These lights are so fucking bright in here that my eyes are so if I go, how many times, Jayhay, would you say in the decade that we've known each other have you seen me outside in the sun without sunglasses on?
Oh, one hand, maybe.
Yeah, maybe never.
Yeah.
The only time that I can recall is and the sun wasn't even out, was the Bregman wiffle ball video because I was pitching.
I support you in that, though. I also don't like going outside and not wearing sunglasses. I feel like my eyes are very sensitive to light.
So sensitive, dude. Like the lights in my eyes do not mix at all.
The photos of me and my brother's wedding are just fucking awful because they're all me staring directly into the sun, and I'm just like, I look stoned as shit in all of them, but I'm a little stoned, but I'm not.
Yeah.
That's not the explanation for why I look terrible in all those photos.
Jared, you need to ask Jake to turn on the super chat on YouTube. Jake, turn on the super chat on YouTube. We're not doing classic game tonight, question mark. Tomorrow night.
Yeah, that's tomorrow night.
Yeah, tomorrow night. Tonight's the last night of Winter Meeting streams. Tomorrow we're doing the classic game, which will be our last time on playback ever.
But-
Blake Harris. Great Dodgers fall, by the way. Little blurb here on Tarek Skubal, Dodgers rumors. The Tigers surprised teams by engaging in serious talks and were intrigued by the Dodgers' potential package of prospects, triggering trade rumors. Yeah, that's dangerous. Thank you guys for the tips, by the way.
Thank you very much, real John Anthony.
Yeah, you guys don't have to do that. Yeah, so it's going to be randomized. It is what it is. Unless, and I don't know. No, it's going to be randomized because we have the ability to do the classic. Yeah, we can keep going. It's not going to be the last one. It's going to be the last one on playback. It's not going to be the last one that we do because we're going to be able to do it on a different platform. So fear not. The classic game rewatches will continue without playback. Still sad. RIP playback.
Yeah, for sure.
No wow, what a girthy winter meeting stream tonight, Justin Havens.
Remember when we first talked about should we do the we're not going to the winter meetings, should we do some streams? And we were like, yeah, let's go for like 15-30 minutes, like recap what's going on.
Yeah,
I think that's probably the instance in my life where I'm the most consistently stupid is when I talk about time frames for us to do stuff. Like we have never ever done anything in 15 minutes.
No.
And I'm not even saying we should. Like these have all been a lot of fun, and I think the people have had fun too. But it's just funny that there's this idea that we're going to do anything in 15 to 30 minutes, and that's of course not happening. And then Peggy, shout out to Peggy, by the way.
Yes, thank you, Peggy. The best.
For lining up the cavalcade of stars in the winter meeting stream, which brought back some of that postseason stream feel. With the guests, which I love because it's fun to break it up with you, me, D, and Coley's on or whatever, talking, and then guest, and then we get back to talking, and then guest. It's a nice rhythm, so it's been a lot of fun.
I very much have enjoyed the winter meeting streams. It's almost a blessing in disguise that we didn't end up going. Got a ton of play by getting denied, and then being able to do these streams, which I don't know that we were going to be able to execute if we were there.
No, I think it would have been pretty messy and probably wouldn't have happened, and sure, we would have gotten some stuff down there, but this is a great consolation prize for sure.
No doubt. Really quickly, there was someone that asked a few times about like a scouting report, Cubs fan, about Rob Refsnyder. He crushes lefties. He's gotten much better at hitting right-handed pitching. Pretty good player. He's not going to play every day for you. He was a leader in the clubhouse for the Red Sox, and I don't have a bad word to say about him. I think all of his teammates loved him, and he absolutely mashes lefties, and he can play a pretty good defense in the corners for you. All right, we got to do section 10, I believe at 9. I still haven't eaten dinner, so I have 17 minutes to just choke down a steak, and looking forward to talking some more. What the fuck are the Red Sox doing later tonight?
Yeah, you have a good section 10, and I'll see you tomorrow afternoon for BID, and then tomorrow night for classic game stream.
Yes, can't wait. Very loaded day. Thank you everyone for tuning in. We very much appreciate you guys. Pretty steady chat for the whole night. I did want to say fuck you to Ben in the chat. He's been talking shit all night. Yeah, I did want to say fuck you before we get out of here. But yeah, the chat was steady all night, and we appreciate all the audience listening, viewing, and live. And then even when the people that go back and watch afterwards, we appreciate those views as well. So we will see you tomorrow for BID and the classic game rewatch. See you then.